Alright, hey everyone. So this is going to be question number 6 on the discussion, and it's what would Python do with like repr-esentation. And this is going to be going over like the repr and string representations of like a certain class. And so we define the class A, we init with like a variable x, and we're going to assign like the instance variable x, like self.x is equal to that x variable. And the repr is going to be returning like self.x. So like whatever like self.x is, that's the representation, repr of it. And the string of it is going to be self.x multiplied by 2. And for class B, we have like the init function that's going to start out by printing boot and initializing A to be like the empty list. Add A is going to add whatever you pass in to the end of that self.a list. And along with that, the repr is going to like go through this entire block of code. It's going to print out the length and then add the string of A for each element in self.a, so that list where you added elements via add A. So it's going to keep on adding the string of like those elements, and it's going to return the compiled result. And so yeah, going into the like what would the Python do, we construct an A object, so A of 1, and we say like self.x is equal to x, so the x instance variables is equal to 1. And because A of 1 evaluates the object, if we put this into an interpreter, what it's going to display, it's going to display the repr of that object. And so in this case, the repr is exactly what self.x is, and it's the string x, and so it's going to print out the repr of that object, which is going to be 1 right here. Yeah, so just like to reiterate again, if you like put the object into the interpreter, it's going to get the repr of that object and it's going to print it. So essentially saying like print repr of A of 1. This is like essentially like what the interpreter is printing out. And yeah, so it's going to be 1, and let's move on to the next one. And for the next one, we kind of did the same thing. We create another A object, it's going to be 1 again, but this time we're going to print it out. And remember that when we're printing out like objects, we're going to be printing out the string representation of that object. And in this case, it's going to be self.x times 2. So it's going to be the string 1 times 2. And it's like kind of like, if you multiply it by a string, it's going to become like 1, 1. So like it's going to be like double what the string was. And then we're going to print that out. So our output is going to be 1, 1. And then what about the next line? Well, it's going to be the repr of A of 2. And so we construct A of 2. Self.x is equal to 2, and then we're going to get the repr of that object because we called the repr function on it, and it's going to return self.x, which is the string 2, and that's what our program is going to output. And so it's going to be the string 2 right here. And yeah, so next we're going to have we're going to be doing stuff with the B class, and we're going to say variable B is B. And so here, right, if we go through like the init, we're going to print out boot. So one line is going to be boot. And then we're going to initialize like self.a equals this empty list. And that's all this line is, because when we create, like assign it to a variable, the interpreter doesn't output anything. And so aside from the print statement that we had inside the init function, this line isn't going to output anything else. And so now we go to the lines b.add_a of this A object, b.add_a of this B object, and then we're going to like output B in the console, in the interpreter. Remember that if we have just put the object inside of the interpreter, it's going to print out the repr of that object. And then so let's think about like what B has so far. So it has like the A of A. So B's A attribute, instance attribute, so like self.a, is referring to these, like this is what it is so far. It's like the list containing like everything that we added. It's like the add 8 right here. And then so now we want to print out the repr of that B object, and that function is right here. So we're going to start out by printing the length of that list of A objects. And so print out length of self.a, and it's going to be 2. Because we added 2 elements to that self.a instance variable. And then after that, we're going to go through each element of that list. So remember, the elements were A of A and A of B, and we're going to print out the string. We're going to like concatenate the string representations of each of those objects. And so in the case of the first element, so A of A, remember that the string representation is going to be double of self.x, and self.x is going to be this string A. So it's going to be AA, and likewise for the second A object, so A of B, it's going to be BB. So self.x is B, B times 2 is BB. And remember that the repr of the B class is going to be like concatenating those together and then returning it. So the return result is this string AABB, and so it's going to be the string AABB. That's what the repr returns. And remember that the print function, like, it's also going to print out the repr, so we're going to remove these quotations at the end. Because when we print a string, we're going to remove the outside quotations. And yeah, that's going to be all of question number 6, so the What Would Python Do? And if you ever have any questions, feel free to email me at patwing123@berkeley.edu. And yeah, have a great day.